Welcome to the collection of the wildest and craziest AITA Reddit stories of all time. From wild betrayals to shocking twists, these tales will leave you questioning who is really in the wrong. Let's dive in together. The first story for this collection is from unknown user. AITA, if I break up with my BF after he felt up my boot in public when I told him not to? I, 19F, have been dating my boyfriend, 28M, for a bit more than a year. We went out to eat and got seated upstairs in a quieter corner of the restaurant. I was wearing a short skirt and a loose top without a bra that was showing a little, that he suggested and convinced me to wear, saying it'd be more comfortable for my bigger size and that I would look cute for him. Suddenly, he slipped his hand under my top and started feeling up my boot and rubbing my nipples. I froze. My stomach was exposed and my cleavage was showing, and everyone could see his hands running all over my boot and nipples under my top. I quietly told him to stop, but he just whispered in my ear, "You're beautiful, babe," and kept feeling me up. I could see his boner through his sweatpants. People were glancing over, looking at me weirdly, and it felt like they were judging me hard, and I was just staring down at the table. Then I saw the waitress coming upstairs. She was looking right at us. He finally pulled his hand away. She dropped off our food and gave me this weird look like she was judging me, and I felt so small. I could barely make eye contact with her, and she kept looking at me a few times while we were there, even after that, probably judging me. After we got to our car in the car park, he pulled me into the back seat and pulled his clothes off, saying, "Now's a perfect time, babe," as he started rubbing his boner. I said no, that someone might see. I was crying, thinking about how everyone was judging me and probably thinking I'm such a weirdo in the restaurant. I went to get out, but he pulled me back in by my hips, saying I'm overreacting. He pulled off my clothes while rubbing himself and feeling me, and I was frozen for a long time, thinking about everyone judging me before. After a bit he told me, "Let's do it now," and grabbed my hips and started putting it in slowly and started moving, and I eventually snapped out of it and pushed him out of me and got out half naked while I pulled up my skirt and put my top back on, and I was still shocked. While he was driving home, he half-jokingly said, "Could you at least give me a BJ while I drive?" When we got back to his place, I told him seriously that he can't do that again, especially in public. He acted hurt and said, "So you don't want me to show you love anymore?" and kind of just walked away while I was still trying to talk to him. I told a friend, and she said maybe he just didn't realize and was trying to be sweet. AITA, if I break up with him over this? OP is not an AH. Her boyfriend blatantly ignored her consent multiple times, publicly humiliated her, and pressured her into sexual acts against her will, which is abusive and predatory behavior. Breaking up with him is not only justified but necessary for her safety and well-being. So, I would rate OP's boyfriend 2.5, and OP 0 out of 5 on the AH scale. Let's now move on to the next story from Commercial Type 1814. AITA, for not personally telling my SIL that my husband and I have decided to stop fostering? My husband and I, both late 30s, had fostered children for several years. We have 3 young children together, and we always kept them in mind while we fostered, and we made sure to limit the number of kids we fostered at a time so nobody was displaced. 5 years ago, we had a lovely 2-year-old boy placed in our care. We were told he was likely going to be adoptable in the coming years, and we were asked if we would be interested. We were absolutely on board with this if it should ever happen. 3 years into fostering her, we were told that her biological mother was agreeing to give up all parental rights and allow him to be adopted. Our foster son bonded with all of us, and we all bonded with him. The kids saw him as a brother, we saw him as our son, and he saw them as his siblings and us as his parents. We had started the process to adopt him a few months ago when the rug was pulled out from under all of us. The caseworker decided to remove him from our home and place him with a couple who were looking to foster to adopt. It was devastating, and he didn't want to leave. We asked for reasons why the decision was made, and the caseworker said it had been decided that he would be better placed with parents who did not have any children. I did push back some and brought up how bonded he was with us all and how excited he was for the adoption, and I told her it would devastate him. She said he would recover and all would be fine, that he was young, and that they felt this was the best decision, no matter how much he wanted to be with us, and we wanted him with us. The thing is, with fostering, we always knew something like that could happen. But we never realized, once the adoption process had started after parental rights were terminated, that it could happen. This was devastating for all of us, and my husband and I agreed we could not risk this again. So, we stopped fostering. It was a difficult decision because we loved helping kids. We loved offering them a safe space. But we couldn't hurt our kids again, and the risk was too big considering how badly this was all handled. It wasn't even we who first mentioned adoption to our now former foster son. It was the caseworker. I'm going off on a tangent right now. Sorry. We didn't say anything to our families for a while, and when we did, we told a few people who spread the news for us. One of those was my brother, and he told his wife, Sael. Sael was angry that I didn't tell her directly myself. She was a foster kid and had been very good for us as a foster. When she found out, she said I owed it to her to tell her face to face, and how dare I stop like that when I could help so many others. I explained to her the reasons, but she did not want to hear them. She said there are kids out there with nothing, and I'd rather protect kids who have everything. She has mentioned at least 3 times by now that I should have told her directly, and I'm an AH for not doing so. AITA for that. OP is not an AH. She made a painful but reasonable choice to protect her children and herself after a devastating and unfair experience. Sister-in-law's reaction is insensitive and disregards the trauma OP's family endured. As for scores, I would rate OP's sister-in-law 2.5, and OP 0 out of 5 on the AH scale. Let's now move on to the next story from Scolding Souls. AITA for refusing to have a relationship with my sister or family after she started dating my ex, who assaulted me, and they supported the relationship? I, 27F, was in a relationship with Tony, 29M, 5 years ago. We'd been together 2 years when I ended it after he assaulted me. It came out of absolutely nowhere, and while I didn't end up in the hospital, I walked around with a black eye and bruises on my face and arms for a while. My family was also surprised by Tony's actions, and nobody ever knew why. But we all agreed there was no coming back from that. I did press charges. He did serve a small sentence. I also didn't have contact with him again. Until my sister Lila, 28F, decided there was some way to come back from it, because she and Tony are now in love. When she told us about the relationship, I was stunned and couldn't speak. The rest of the family was quiet also, but eventually started asking questions, and then they acted like all was good. I ended up yelling questions at her that she, in turn, yelled the answers back at me, and I stormed off feeling so betrayed and questioning why everyone acted like it was okay. Lila and I fought about it again when she called me up and said I had no right to act like it was all about me. I asked her how she'd like it if the shoe was on the other foot, but she told me I was being spiteful and petty and to accept I didn't get a say in her love life. I told her I might not get a say in it, but she didn't get a say in what I found acceptable either, and she didn't get a say in whether I speak to her anymore or not. I went quiet with Lila and the rest of my family. But I saw they were welcoming Tony back in like nothing happened. There was fallout from a few different people. Some family friends were disgusted my family would hurt me that way, and some of my friends have stopped being friends with 2 of my siblings, Lila and my brother Sam, who's 2 years younger. Because they think it's crazy how Lila could fall in love with him, and my family could act like that's alright after what he did to me. It's been several months since Lila told us about her and Tony, and I guess I didn't come around like everyone expected because they started texting and calling, and when I didn't answer, they reached out on social media and just kept trying to engage with me. After a little while, I did respond, and I said I'd talk to them in person one more time because I had some things to say, but that would be it. When I went to my parents' house, it was them and all my siblings, and they were all ready to talk me into submission, and they asked me what I thought I was doing, taking myself out of the family and treating them with 0 respect. I said they were getting what they deserved and that I didn't consider them worthy of respect since they're okay with Tony now. Lila tried to tell me I had gone too far and I was making her relationship my business when it's not. I told her to keep that attitude if and when Tony assaults her because I do not want to hear it, and I do not care. I told the rest of my family the same. If Tony assaults and injures any of them, I don't want to hear about it and will not care. I said I wanted nothing to do with the people who could accept my abuser back into the family like they have. And I told them I was better off alone than with them for family. I didn't let them say anything else, and I left. I blocked them all and any relatives who tried to pass along messages. I told them I didn't want to hear from those people anymore. Some extended families are pissed that I'm taking such a hard stance, and they say I'm dragging them into it, even though I'm not the person asking them to pass along messages. They told me I'll wake up and regret it one day when they're all gone, and especially after what I said about them being assaulted. Other extended family members are telling me not to listen. But right now, the loudest voices are the ones who are saying I'm wrong. I do feel a little conflicted because I always loved my family, and they were there for me after the assault. So, it's making me question if I'm being too me about this. AITA. OP is not an AH. She is fully justified in cutting ties with family members who betrayed her by supporting and accepting her abuser. Her feelings of hurt, anger, and refusal to engage are completely valid. Her family's actions show deep disrespect toward her trauma and boundaries. So, I would rate OP's family 2.5, and OP 0 out of 5 on the AH scale. Let's now jump on to the next story from inevitable_pack_6173. AITA for cutting off my siblings for forgiving our mother for abusing me? I, 29M, have a younger brother, 25, and a younger sister, 24. When we were kids, our dad died. I'm the only one who remembers Dad. I'm also the one who looks like Dad. And I think that's why when our mother turned violent, she was only violent toward me. I was 8 when my mother started abusing me physically, but she was verbally abusive for about a year before turning to physical abuse. She'd scream at me to stop being so useless or worthless, which the word she used depended on the day. She'd called me retarded and she'd threatened to whip me for looking at her. Then she did turn physically violent. She'd punch me, slap me, burn me with cigarettes, stab me with her fork, and all sorts of stuff. A few times she just beat the crap out of me and she'd scream at me the whole time. My siblings knew it was happening, but she left them alone and focused it all on me, which is why I feel like I'm looking like Dad made me such a target. She'd just fly into these rages around me. When I turned 18, I moved out, and my siblings moved out with me. I'd been taking care of them for 3 years at that point. Our mother wasn't taking care of them at that point, so I stepped up. They lived with me, and my now wife, until a couple of years ago. They stayed all through college, and I did my best to help them. So, when they told me they were back in touch with our mother, it stung a bit. But I knew they were able to choose for themselves, and it had nothing to do with me. I asked them not to tell me about her. I said I didn't want to know how she was or what was going on in her life. They appeared to respect that. But then they wanted to have us all have dinner together, and they talked about her meeting my unborn child. I had to remind them I was not going to have a relationship with her, and I told them she'd have some nerve to expect me to host her or let her in my child's life. That's when they told me they had forgiven her for everything and had reassured her it would all be okay and there was no bad blood. I asked them if that included abusing me. They flinched when I said it, but then they were like, of course. They said she apologized, and she's grown and healed a lot. I asked them what gave them that right. They said she needed forgiveness. I told them I didn't want her to rest peacefully every night knowing what she did. I wanted her to feel bad if she was even capable of that. They told me it was an awful thing to say because, of course, she's capable of human emotions. And that I didn't get to be mad at them. I told them I couldn't even look at them, knowing they believed they could forgive her for abusing me. I said they had no business doing that. Forgiving her for not being the best mother to them is one thing, but they weren't the ones physically and verbally abused regularly. They told me they had to do it, and I needed to understand. I made them leave, and I told them if they even asked if she could visit or come to see me, I would be done with them. I cooled off a bit and focused on my wife and unborn child for a few weeks before reaching out to talk it out some more. But they were still of the opinion that they had the right to forgive her for what she did to me. And they made a big deal out of my not liking it. It made me angrier, and I told them they were old enough to make their own choices, but I won't be a part of it, and I won't be a part of their lives anymore. I told them this was it for me. That I was done. That I would not have them bringing that monster into my life again or my innocent baby's life, and I would not have them act like she deserved forgiveness for what she did to me. They didn't expect it, and they sent texts, DMs, and called a few times before I blocked them in all the places. My wife did the same thing, so they can't reach me through her either. When they did text and stuff, they told me it wasn't fair and they were allowed to forgive her, and I shouldn't cut them off for doing it. AITA. OP is not an AH. He has every right to protect himself and his future child from people who try to minimize or forgive the severe abuse he endured without his consent. OP is justified in cutting ties to maintain his safety and emotional well-being. As for scores, I would rate OP's siblings 2.5 and OP 0 out of 5 on the AH scale. Let's now move on to the last story from quirky-wait-7729. AITA for buying my boyfriend flowers after he mentioned most men only get them when they die. Okay, so my boyfriend, 22M, and I, 21F, have been together for about 5 months and it has been good so far. But about a week ago when I was at his apartment he told me that most men only receive flowers when they're dead. He then went on a bit of a rant about women not caring as much as men when it comes to their partners, and then men want shows of affection too. I honestly took this all as a hint that he wanted flowers. So yesterday I went to Whole Foods and picked out all the flowers I thought he would like and put together a big bouquet for him. I also got him a coffee, some chocolates, and a few other things I thought he would like. I've done things like this before, but minus the flowers. I usually put a Game Pass gift card or a Lego set, etc. I feel like this is important because I don't want anyone to think I don't show him affection or get him gifts. I do. So, I show up at his apartment with literally the biggest smile. I was so excited for his reaction, but when I gave him the flowers, he got a super uncomfortable look on his face and wouldn't touch or kiss me at all. I asked him what was wrong and if he liked the flowers, and he just kind of blew up at me, saying that flowers are only for apologizing and that if I cheated on him, I needed to tell him right now. I was shocked and started crying because I have never and would never cheat on anyone. He took the flowers to the kitchen and threw them in the trash, which honestly felt like a huge punch in the gut. He told me to get out of his apartment and that he didn't have time for cheating his words. Every time I tried to explain he said he didn't want my excuses and when I'm ready to tell him who the man is then I can talk to him then. But there is no man, I didn't cheat on him, I just thought he wanted flowers. I've never thought of flowers as just an apology. He's never gotten them for me, but I just thought he didn't like showing love that way, so I buy them for myself every week. I'm just so confused and hurt by his reaction, and I don't know what to do to fix the situation. So, am I the AH for buying him flowers? Do women only buy flowers as an apology? I'm so confused. Edit. I'm completely overwhelmed by the responses, and everyone is making me realize that he's not worth my time at all. I tried to do something nice for him, and he threw it back in my face. I texted him and told him we need to talk, and his response was, finally ready to confess or what? So that tells me he's done no critical thinking on his end about the situation. We are meeting for lunch tomorrow and will update everyone after. Thank you everyone for the kind replies and for opening my eyes to what an asshole this guy is. I'm just glad I didn't waste years of my time. Second edit. I want to clarify a few things about my post. His parents gift each other flowers regularly, so he has seen flowers given to a partner for reasons other than cheating. His mother gifted him flowers for his college graduation, so he has received flowers previously, and this is not the first time. Also, I have had a few people tell me it's weird of me to gift him things like the Lego sets, etc., that I mentioned in my post. He told me at the beginning of our relationship that his love language is gift-giving, and he loves receiving gifts. That is why I do it. I did not think it would come across as weird in any way. I only spend around $50 each time, which is nothing for me as I have a well-paying job. I was in a relationship for 2 years previously, and I gave my partner monthly gifts throughout the entire relationship, so I'm in no way trying to love bomb him. I just always want my partner to know they are loved and appreciated. Big update. Everyone, his mother is asking if she can call me, what should I do? His mother loves me and is honestly an angel. I don't know what he's told her about the situation. Should I be worried? Edit again. I'm sorry for updating so many times, there's just a lot happening. I'm going to take Reddit's advice and take the call from his mother. I don't think she means any harm in calling me, but if it gets hostile at all, I will hang up. I am also considering canceling lunch tomorrow, but it partially depends on how this phone call goes. I've also had someone suggest just sending them both the link to this post, which I am considering. Everyone's opinions on that would be appreciated. I told his mother she can call me this evening, so I will update after that as well. Update 1. Alright guys. This isn't the update any of you were expecting, or maybe it is. And it's not the one I was expecting to give. But his mom called me, and it was both him and his mom on the phone. I pretty quickly told them I wasn't willing to talk to both of them, but my ex-boyfriend was crying. Like crying actual tears, so I listened. His mom told me he had been talking to her about us, and she wants him to talk to me with her support so can tell me everything. He started it by telling me how he hasn't felt like I'm what he wants in a woman, I'm not willing to move in with him yet, and he's someone who only wants to date for 6 months before getting engaged, which he had not told me ever before, so this surprised me. This would mean he wants to be engaged next month, which is way too soon for me. He also told me that he has trauma around cheating because his high school girlfriend cheated on him in junior year, and you guessed it, apologized with a rose. Then he told me that he wants someone who is less career-focused and someone who wants to have kids and not work. He said he thinks some of my ideals and morals are skewed, but wouldn't tell me which ones or what he meant. He also told me he's realized I am a radical feminist, which I think is extreme because while yes, I am a feminist, I don't hate all men or think they are all bad, I never talk badly about them to him and have given him no reason to think this aside from being pro-choice. He said he can't date someone who doesn't respect him and emasculates him. He said the flowers I gave him showed him that I viewed him as feminine and also showed that I was cheating. I told him again that I was not and had never cheated on him and asked if he had cheated on me before. He was quiet for I kid you not a full 2 minutes and then asked me to define cheating. I asked if he had slept with someone else, and he said no. I asked why he mentioned the flowers if he thought flowers were emasculating, and he said it was more about that fact that men are treated, and a quote, more as slaves than human in our society. He said it was less about him wanting flowers and more about him feeling like women aren't owed flowers. That was enough explanation on where he was coming from for me. I told him our relationship was over, and we don't share the same ideals. He said he was willing to work on it if I would make changes to become wife material. I said no and hung up. So yeah, lunch is cancelled and we're not together anymore. His mom didn't say much other than that she would miss me and would always care about me. I know it all seems like it was best for me. I'm heartbroken, and I didn't expect our relationship to end like this. He knew I wanted to work on my career, wait to have kids, etc., and always said he was fine with it. So, it seems like he changed all of his expectations suddenly. I've been non-stop crying since the call, and I don't know what to think. I feel so stupid for not seeing that he was like this sooner, and I just wish I had never dated him. But I hope that gives some closure to everyone, and I appreciate everyone's help and kind words. Thank you, everyone. OP is not an AH. She made a thoughtful gesture in response to her boyfriend's comments, showing care and affection. His extreme, accusatory reaction was disrespectful. OP deserves appreciation, not hostility, for her kind and loving act. So I would rate OP's boyfriend 2.5, and OP 0 out of 5 on the AH scale. What do the Mac Reddit fans think? Is the OP an AH or not? Let me know in the comments section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to Mac Reddit for a daily dose. Bye bye, see you tomorrow with some more spicy fries.